Yo, 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 what's up, what's good, everybody? This is the August 2nd, 2020 episode of the Boxing Source radio show. I am your host, James Bell, the leader of the Boxing Source on social media. You can follow us on Facebook by going to the Boxing Source. You can also catch us on Instagram through the Boxing Source. And we also are on Twitter at Boxing Source 2. So you can follow us at Boxing Source 2. And we have this podcast on through YouTube. So you can go through the Boxing Source on YouTube and you can listen to the show there. Number to dial in, 347-237-5539. That is 347-237-5539. Get on cue to be able to be live on the show. We are going to see about having a special guest here on with us here. So we're just waiting for that guest to call in so that we could introduce them into the show. But given that, we did have a good amount of action this weekend. This was like the first, weekend or Saturday where we had a, good amount of action in the boxing scene. We had, events, over in the UK. You also had something over in Thailand. That was a very entertaining fight. I felt that it was a very entertaining fight. And we did, have action over in the Mohegan Sun Casino in Uncasville. So, we'll be, going through most of that here in this particular podcast, hopefully, while we wait on our special guest to come in. So I'm going to start off with the events that did take place over in the Mohegan Sun Casino, as that was the first set of bouts that took place there in that particular venue that is held through PBC on Showtime. So Showtime Boxing, you did have a few events or a few fights there, and you had two bouts that were on the undercard, and then the main event, which was for the WBO Super Bantamweight Championship there. So you had two fights that were in the undercard that were actually rematches. Joseph George against Marcos Escudero in the first bout. You had Raiz the Beast Salim versus Marcus Bates in the other fight, and wanted to get into that George Escudero fight because that one saw that fight there. You had, of course, Joseph George coming in there 10-0. Marcos Escudero there with that only loss to Joseph George. And I'm going to see if we could get into that a little bit. But right now, we have from Capitol Heights, Maryland, you know what it is. It's the man, the WBC featherweight champion of the world, Mr. Gary Russell Jr. What's going on, King? Man, I'm feeling good, man. I know you in all in good spirits. You had a good little series of events yesterday. I know that you celebrated your daughter's birthday. Is that correct?
Oh. 8 years old, man. She's getting bigger, and more importantly, she's getting smarter.
Oh, yeah.
That's my best. And my wife, that's our firstborn, man. So it made a lot to
Yes, I know that you had your big event out there for, all the family all was in there and y'all had a good time, I'm sure.
That's right. That's right. And I have a 6-year-old daughter that's soon to be turning 7, August the 13th. So in a couple more days, we gotta do it all over.
You do it all over again. It's 2 weeks, and in another 2 weeks, it's like, oh, babe, we gotta do this thing again. Oh, snap, So hey, it's that's all good, man. That's all good. Just checking in. Been checking in with you over the past, couple of days and whatnot. Seeing how things is doing. I did kind of talk with you about your father, him going through the surgery, but he's, feeling all good and gravy right now, correct?
That's right. He's getting back into the swing of things. I'm glad that he's getting a little bit better. Slow progress is better than no progress. So he's taking it slowly but sure.
Yeah, I feel you. So he's not like quite in the gym full time as of yet, or is he back in there with y'all?
No, he's still in the gym. He's not there completely 100% full time. We're not really getting ready for anything as of yet, so we're just giving him the opportunity to still rest his body and rehabilitate his body, to the best of his ability. I've been doing this my whole life. I do this shit in my sleep.
Right.
So we get in the gym and get the job done, but when we in camp and we're definitely there.
I feel you. Definitely feel you right there, man. Cause like you said, I mean, all you gotta do is, you know how the routine go. He doesn't necessarily have to, be there all the time. I mean, you know how to get it in, you know how to work, So he just business there in the gym.
That's right.
Yeah, I feel you, man. So last time you caught up with you, you had the thing, of course, from February against King Tug, and just seeing here about trying to get things going as far as like what your next fight was going to be. But I know that one of the callers in the previous time we spoke tried to get something started up with a specific lightweight quote unquote champion out there. So I'm trying to see because it looks like he's still free and he don't have an opponent. So we was trying to see if we could get something going to get you up in there against him. You know what I mean?
Man, listen, I've been open and I've been calling everybody out who is to call out. The difference between me and these guys are they're boxers. I'm a fighter. It's different. They worry about weight classes and focus on that. A real fighter doesn't focus on that, don't care about it. It's the skill that creates the difference between the individual. I'm willing to match. I'm willing to put my skills on the line against who's ever willing to step up to the challenge. I've been doing business with Bill Haney for a while. Let's make something happen. And then whoever try and make it happen, and I call them out everybody. Mm-hmm. First person that raises their hand, that's really talking some sense, they can get it.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Now I see I have some folks that was coming in here. So first off, I wanted to get the 267 area code in here with the WBC featherweight champion of the world, Mr. Gary Russell Jr. What's going on?
Pretty good. I want to speak to Gary, the real one-time wrestler.
What's up, man?
Really good, man. Well, we'll start with Devin Haney. Like we'll start with Devin Haney. He doesn't have an opponent, and everybody else in the division is fighting big names. I feel like you are the logical choice. You would move the needle, and that would be probably the biggest fight in the division outside of the so-called undisputed.
I totally agree. I don't know if you caught the interview with me on the barbershop conversation, but that is fine. Bill Haney called in, and we had that whole conversation and discussion live. But with 700 people. Well, you need to go and check it out, Barbershop Conversation. And that was basically me and Bill Haney. Me and Bill Haney, we've been on the phone having conversations, trying to make a fight happen, trying to reach an agreement, make something happen between me and the Devin Haney. You know, all of these guys that I've mentioned and I've said I've been trying to fight, I'm really trying to fight these guys.
Yeah, now, in reference to that, like, I've heard that they kind of sent some type of offer and you sent a counter offer and they really got back to you on that counter offer.
Nah, it was never, they never gave me an offer.
Oh, okay.
They never gave me an offer. What happened was I pretty much spoke to Bill Haney and I was just dating. You know, I'm like, listen, Bill, apparently ain't nobody trying to fight. You know, Lomachenko, he gave up his title to be the franchise champion. Everyone's definitely, no one wants to fight me. Let's make the fight happen. You know, he was like, I told him, I said, your son's 21 years old. I said, so hypothetically, even if I do beat his little ass, he'll still bounce back from it. And he lost to one of the best fighters in the world. But on the flip side to that coin, if he wins, he beats one of the best fighters in the world. You know, I gave Bill a hypothetical figure on what we could possibly make on that fight, and he never did anything back. I never got anything back from him.
Mm-hmm.
I never got it. He never came back at all. You know, he just said that, you know, he was out overpricing himself. You know, but that's not how you properly commit. You got to have a counter offer or something.
Right.
You know, it was just a hypothetical number. Next thing I know, they talking about he's going to be fighting Gamble. So a lot of these guys, they really not trying to make these fights happen. I'm really trying to make certain fights happen. I'm trying to fight all the guys that I mentioned.
Yeah, I feel you.
And if you was to watch Barbershop Conversation, that you would explain everything I'm talking about.
Yep, no doubt. Go ahead, Jamil.
Tio fights Loma. Ryan Garcia fights Lou Campbell. Javier Fortuna is going to fight
Jorge Linares.
And Eddie Hearn's answer for Devin Haney is to fight Yorkis Gamboa coming off getting knocked out in a torn ACL. Well, I'm sorry, Achilles. That's the answer?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. See, people fail to realize that the real definition of politics is to have the ability to reward or take away from an individual, to put the people in the positions that they want to be put in and that they want in the positions, and to not allow people to get in the positions that they don't want people to get put in. You know, that's just politics. That's what the real underlining of the politics to me. You know, so it's a crazy world, man. The sport of boxing is getting watered down. The best aren't fighting the best. You know, they're scared to put it on the line.
Yeah, man, it's crazy, man. It's crazy how it be working out like that, man. And like you said, the politics is like folks just pulling game on some of these fighters, and I know that you ain't gonna allow that, and you've never allowed that. So you know how to run this business thing. But I got like another caller in here. I guess it's like maybe one of your favorites because he is the president of the Deontay Wilder fan club, Mr. Matthew Brown.
And Deontay is man. Good guy, man. Good guy.
Get him on the show.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, me and Deontay got some good stories, man.
Now, Gary, I need to ask you a question. Why are you all of a sudden turning Terence Crawford into Mid Green? Now you're into Mid Green.
Oh, no.
He went on, and he was up there. He said, he hit me, and like the bitch he ran. Now you got Terence Crawford out there threatening to break your
mean, well, first of all, I wasn't the person that originally put this story out. This was something that happened, several years back. The guy Todd, he passed away. But when they asked Todd about it, he was on the interview, and they asked him about Crawford, and I think what he said. And he was like, well, I'm not so sold on Crawford, He's the one who originally put it out there. He's like, he got into, I don't want to put all his business out there, but he got into a scuffle with Gary Russell, and I think that chin injury will haunt him for the rest of his career. So I never put it out. It was in the interview that I had that they asked me a question, and to be honest with you, I tried to avoid the question at first. He's like, so it didn't happen? I'm like, nah, he definitely got the motherfucking face. So that part is true. That part is true. But I mean, these guys are boxers, and I'm a fighter. I was always aggressive. I needed this sport to help harness my aggression and help me be able to direct it into something. So when we was in the amateurs, Terence was the one who approached me. He was the aggressor. If you pay attention to everyone's story, the one thing that stayed the same was Terence came to me. He was the aggressor. I was minding my business. And he was the aggressive. Now, we're all elite fighters, man. And what happens before a punch is thrown? There's normally a whole lot of yelling and all that stuff before that. Yep. Terence came and was aggressive. And when he got to yelling and spitting, he almost face to face to me. I didn't do nothing to this man. I've been minding my business. But I was a young man at the time, but I'm 100% better. So I will be able to match it full throttle right then and there. We will answer the call. I'm a fighter at the end of the day. I'm a gladiator. I'm a warrior. Get hard. So I'm going to answer the call. Combat is something that I'm comfortable with. That's my element. So when you approach me in that type of way, I addressed it accordingly. And what he did was he grabbed his face. He didn't attempt to punch back. He grabbed his face, and then people jumped in and broke it up. When you listen to what he said in his interview, he said, you punched me. And then I looked at him, and I thought, I'm a killer. What the fuck type of shit is that? What real man is going? Come on, man. You're supposed to be a pound fighter. You're looking me in my face. Counter-punching has to count for something. You mean to tell me you can't take a shot and then fire back in response? That's what boxers do. That's what boxers do. But you're the sucker. It wasn't a sucker punch. I don't care what he said. It wasn't a sucker punch. If we're in the ring, this combat itself. If we're in the ring, if that guy is across the ring, I can put my hands down. That's if he's not a threat. But the moment that person closes the distance and get within arm's range to be a threat to me, I have to prepare myself to fight. And if you're not a threat, you have to make it known that you're not a threat.
So I guess he underestimated hand speed even at that young age.
Man, no, he underestimated my level of aggression and my level of man that I was at that age. I was always that type of individual. And he got punched in the fucking face. And he did nothing. And if he feels some type of way, like I said, tell Bob to call. There ain't nobody trying to fight. I will meet him. I don't want to meet him at no catch weight because I don't want to take away from my glory. I will meet him at the weight.
Wait a minute. You would step in the ring at 147 with Terence Crawford.
That's correct.
Oh, shit.
Come on, man.
You don't think you're giving up too much?
Come on.
A lot of people say you bullshitting, Gary.
I don't care what nobody got to say. I'm a real man. What people say is don't make it relevant. Don't relevate nothing to me. I mean, I'm cool with that. You know what I'm saying? But you can judge. Terence Crawford is not more talented than Mr. Gary Russell Jr. He can't do the shit in the ring that I can do. Y'all judge it by popularity. Don't judge by popularity. Judge by skill. I would fuck Terence Crawford up. I would beat his ass and I would make it look good doing it. I'm a real competitor. I get up for the opportunity to do something for Mabel. Who has Terence Crawford? Who has Terence Crawford for? That was a relevant fighter. Other than Gamboa. After Gamboa took a 2-year layoff, and after he took a 2-year layoff, he was still in Terence Crawford age. And he was 35 years old then.
Now, Matt, you must have forgot. This is Mr. Gary Russell Jr. that says he don't care if he go up to heavyweight.
I know. I became a big fan of guys up to a lot of experiences on the box. This guy's a real one. You know, I'm over from the outside looking in. This is some quiet dude. You know, just go in there, he's 5'6", do this, and that's it. But this dude, official.
Man, the fake people outnumber the real people in society today. You know, that's honestly what's going on, man. I'm
real. You in the ring with Terence Crawford, would you be the first one to make that phone call?
Hell yeah, I'd be the first. I'd be the second. It don't matter. It's Terence, like, man. Nobody's trying to fight me. Let's keep that. That's not overlooked. Who haven't I called out? Who haven't I called out?
Guy who wants to fight you, but I'm not sure if you're too interested in fighting him because he's not exactly relevant to boxing right now.
See, that's what I'm saying. That's
what we're talking about. Listen, let me ask him.
Go ahead.
Please, let me ask him. If it's off limits, Gary can just say he don't want it off limits. But you have one of your former Olympic teammates, Mark Too Sharp Davis, who, for some reason, went on an Instagram rant about you, where he said he wants you to step in the ring to fight him. Now, I looked him up. He ain't been seen in like 5-6 years in the boxing ring since he was fighting. I think he knocked out.
You said since he was what?
Knocked out.
Since he was knocked out?
Yeah, by the Filipino kid.
Oh, he got knocked out, huh?
Yeah.
Was he like knocked out cold? Was it TKO or was it a knockout?
It was a TKO.
TKO.
Same different. Same different. To be honest with you, now people say that the fact that I answered the question I answered the question honestly about what happened between me and Terence Crawford. They said that was a clout chasing move. Now this was the situation. That's what I'm saying. I don't know how the fuck they can say it's a clout chasing move because this shit happened years ago. I could have been said something about this. I never stated up if somebody brought it up and asked me questions. You know, but this particular situation, this is definitely a clout chasing move. You know what I'm saying? Like he's honest.
Of all the things that you said in the post about you today, because it's since been deleted.
I'm not aware, and to be honest with you, it's irrelevant to me. I haven't seen it. I ain't been on social media. I'm really not a guy that be on social media like that or anything like that. You know, if I am on there and I seen something I didn't like, I'll address it. But for the most part, I leave it alone. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of energy. You know, it's a waste of time and waste of energy. I can care less what this guy say. He hasn't competed in sport of boxing for how long? I think he's just trying to ride the wave based upon the fact that his name was mentioned between Terence Crawford. He's just using it as an opportunity to try to make himself relevant or something. I don't know, but I'm not that type of guy. I really don't care what he got to say. It's a waste of time or energy. I said my piece. I said what I had to say. You know, and that's that. He can talk for the rest. He can continue to make videos for the next 2 months. It wouldn't matter to me.
Yeah, I feel you, man. I feel you. I think I have another caller in here. From the 202 area code, you're on with Mr. Gary Russell Jr., the WBC featherweight champion of the world.
How you doing, man?
What's up, man? How you feeling?
I'm chilling, man. I'm chilling. So I'm from the city, and you know, when you were coming up, I started watching boxing or whatever, and a lot of talk in the town and the city was about you and your brothers, even pretty recent. But my question is to you in terms of, you know, I know you don't care per se what people think about you. You know what I'm saying? You do your own thing and all this, but at the same time, there's the perception that the fact that you don't care about what other people say, you're not really, you know, into boxing other than, you know, what you and your family do, things like that. Do you think that it weighs on, you know what I'm saying? Earlier you were talking about the politics of the game. So does it weigh on you that, you know, as talented as you is, as talented as you showed in the ring as you are, that you don't get the accolades, you know, outside of, you know, how good you are? Does that bother you at all?
No, I get what you're saying. No, it does a little. It does a little, but it goes to show me I know we're in an unperfect world. You know, the perfect world is imperfect, man. And we was them type of guys that always got it from the mud. We never made excuses. You know, if shit got bad, we gonna lace our boots up, tuck our chin, and just go and get it. You know what I'm saying? We ain't gonna make no excuses. But I think, man, in society today, they want people that really want to shuck and jive and really into the in crowd and all that. I'm a real person. I'm a real guy. You know, I'm a family man. But they want a guy that's going to be out here in the clubs, that's flashing all their jewelry and all that. Nah, at the end of the day, everybody that's out here that's living and breathing on this planet, if they in the right state of mind, whether they have children or family or just for themselves, they want to try to provide a sense of stability. They want to make sure that shit is good at the end game. You know, and that's what I focus on. You know, I focus on that. I don't focus on the worldly stuff that goes on. You know, so I guess it plays a part a little bit, but I got too much integrity, you know, to really trip off of it too much. I'm gonna do the best I can. Hopefully my real fans, they love me, they gonna support me all the way through. That's all I ask. You know, I love what I do. I love the sport. You know, it's not that I don't like boxing. I love what I do. Even when I'm over and done with my career, I'm still gonna be in the gym training and at the fights and etc.
Yep.
And I respect what you're saying, and but I think there's again it goes back to, and again I know you don't care about this, but there's a stigma of when Gary Russell comes up, man, this dude is a talent. He has everything that will possess a star, but in the ring, but everything outside the ring, it's like he's a family man. He didn't see that, but he's not putting himself out there enough. Well, he's known for the guy that only fights once a year. He's known for you know, having one of the fastest hands in boxing, but he's not known for anything tangible. So, you know, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, when people go back, they can't touch on a specific fight and say, yeah, Gary Russell, you know, and whoever he was against, that was a great fight. Gary Russell fought this, Gary Russell fought that. And it's like, I can see the talent. Everybody can see the talent in you. It's just like what you said, go back to the politics. Why is it that you're not getting what a lot of people feel like you deserve?
Well, that's a $1 million question. You know, I think that probably could be the exact reason. I'm not sure, but
Like Terence Crawford, I think that was changed overnight.
See, and I think honestly that could play a big reason. You know, I'm a real stand-up type guy. Like yes means yes, no means no. I need, if we doing business, I need something that's gonna make some sense. You're just not gonna tell me what the fuck something is and expect me to just take it as that. I need something to make some sense. You know, and a lot of people in the sport of boxing, you know, we're looked at as ignorant individuals. And for the most part, managers, promoters, they kind of do what they want, So whenever you do get a fighter that's not going to allow them to do what they want, they kind of make it a little difficult for them sometimes. And how can I really fucking fight?
Oh yeah.
Any of these guys that I'm mentioning, even the Mikey Garcia, I'll fight Mikey Garcia at 47. I will beat Mikey Garcia's ass. They talking about how Earl Spence did him. Earl Spence wouldn't be able to compare to what I do to Mikey. Because I do it in a completely different. Ain't nobody in the sport of boxing. Can't nobody in the sport of boxing do what Mr. Gary Russell do in that ring. If I was to fight Mikey Garcia, I would turn myself into a superstar overnight. Especially in a fashion in which that I beat that ass. What do you think he gonna try to he's bigger, so he's just gonna walk forward and throw punches? He can get hit the fuck back. What you think he's gonna try to counter punch? Well, he's fast, so just punch when he punches. You gonna try to time me? I would beat Mikey ass. He's flat footed, he's slowing his feet. I would do whatever I want to Mikey Garcia.
Well, I mean, the thing with Mikey, he does ask for a good amount of money for his fights. So if he's able to get in there with you, you'll be able to get that piece of money too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I do know if I was to get in that fight and I perform in a way in which that I know I can, and I make that shit look sweet in the way that I know I can, that'll put me all the way in the driver's seat. A lot of these managers, promoters don't want somebody to be in the driver's seat that's a real man. That's going to stand up for the shit that they believe in and that they don't feel as though it's right or what they don't want. A lot of them don't want that shit.
So a lot of them include Al Heyman.
Well, I mean, Al, he's acting as an advisor, but I'm not in the contract with Al. I'm not signed with Al, so
okay.
So I'm not signed with Al.
Agent.
Yeah, I'm still a completely free agent. Me and Al, we still work together. We got a business relationship. We definitely still work together. My younger brothers are under contract with Al, but I've been a free agent for a couple of years now. We just going business with each other.
Now, Gary, since you're a free agent, right? All right, and we're hearing that Teofimo Lopez and the Lomachenko negotiations are kind of on the outs. Is that a situation where you would step in? Yeah.
Yep.
Hell yeah, I'll step in. Hell yeah, I'll step in. Hell yeah, I'll step in. Man, for both of them. What you mean? I definitely want Loma.
Hey,
He
man.
got a motherfucking gift.
Yeah, man. I had to tell somebody earlier this week, and this person is Mr. Matt, Mr. Jamil know who this person is, but he had the nerve to try to bring up that particular fight and bring up quote unquote highlights and didn't show the whole fight where you were countering Lomachenko each time he was coming in. You were throwing and landing multiple combinations. And he dropped Loma in round 9. That wasn't called. But like I said, that whole thing was a setup. Like you've never, me personally, I've never seen an instance in history where a fighter is able to be positioned for a world title fight immediately after a loss. And it's not a rematch. Never seen it. So they were catering, they were definitely catering to Lomachenko in that instance, and pretty much still catering to him. Oh man, I'm gonna say this phrase, man, and I'm gonna get hit for it. They're still catering to him to this day. Oh.
That's right. And listen, to keep it 100, nobody knew who the fuck Lomachenko was to be quoted with Russell Jr.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And to talk about the politics about it. How could they possibly try to? In one of the Lomachenko fights, they tried to say he was 14-0 and act like he never lost to him. So what the fuck? Come on, man. Don't do this, man. And Lomachenko's not a better fighter than me. If you were to look at one of Lomachenko fights and you look at one of my fights, you don't even have to know anything about boxing and watch both of them separately. And I guarantee you, they'll say, "Oh yeah, this guy is definitely a better fighter than that guy." Before me, I had to do. No, I don't take it away from him, not one bit. If we fight 100 times, I would beat his ass 99. You know what I'm saying? It's all fine and dandy. If I would have had the information that, or the mindset that I have now, if I was as smart as I was now, I wouldn't have lost none of the weight at all. I would have just took the fine. I would have took the fine and I just fought the fight. And nobody would have won the title because I would have beat his ass because I would have had the energy to do what I wanted to do.
Yeah, but even still, you was still able to get all them rounds on them. Like, ain't no way that they could score that joint, 118, 110 for Loma. Like, never. Ain't no way.
Hey, Jerry, how about this fight, Jerry?
Say it again?
Nah, I want
this fight.
Yeah.
I want to.
No.
I want to.
It's on this Jazz, Loma, or Tia. Any one of those I'll be at. Devin Haney, Lomachenko, or Tia. Any one of those I'll be at.
I want to see Gary Russell versus Terence Crawford. Blood Crawford, like this green. They ain't calling him Blood no more. I want to see Terence Blood Crawford.
He said
versus.
Hey,
oh.
that's a good. Hey, look, that's a damn good one too. That's what I want you to. What's up, Tom?
Listen.
Somebody way. You want to redeem yourself for acting like a sucker and not punching back. Tell Bob to call me, man. Tell Bob to give me a call. We can make the fight happen. I'll meet you at 47.
No.
I'll meet you at 47.
You don't think you're giving up too much? Like,
no, I ain't giving up too much. I don't care. Man, listen, that's crazy, man. People pick and choose when they wanna say certain stuff. Pacquiao went all the way up. All these guys, how many people in the sport of boxing that moved all the way up in weight? I have an exceptional ability. I can fluctuate up and down and do what the fuck I want with these guys. I don't think I'm giving up nothing. All I gotta do is contractually be 141. All I have to do is 141 pounds for the commissioner to pay the fight.
That's right.
Do you think?
I hate the fact that someone of your talent and someone that's had the career that you had has to jump to a weight class to get someone of quality to step in the ring with you. I hate that.
I mean, it's a blessing and a curse at the same time. I hope they give me the opportunity to do number 8.
Yeah, but do you think the WBO would approve you as an opponent for Terence Crawford?
Why wouldn't they? If they want to get sales, why wouldn't they? I mean, it's about viewership. It's about numbers at the end of the day. You wouldn't want to see me fight the Terence Crawford.
Well, I'm going to have to see.
Fight Terence Crawford. It's business at the end of the day. We're entertainers. We're entertainers. They ain't had no product to produce. Like, everybody been in this corona and stuff. They don't got no product to put out. Let's give them some good content. Let's give them some real raw shit. What's up, parents? Like I said, tell Bob, call me. I'll get you up with that.
Well, let me tell you about Bud Crawford. I don't know if Bud Crawford is gonna step in the ring.
Say that again.
Man, I don't want to stop your money. You should be able to get any fight you want, but the Terence Crawford fight, not to say that you can't beat him, because time-wise, you are there with him. But I feel like when you fought Lomachenko, I feel like you had the same amount of time.
No, you're judging me based upon a dehydrated version of Mr. Gary Russell Jr. You're judging me based upon a dehydrated version. You have to lose 5.5 pounds, 30 minutes in the sauna, 2 minutes out, another 40 minutes in the sauna, 3 minutes out, cold shower, back in the sauna, another 45 minutes. Now, I mean, you're judging me by doing some shit after that.
All right, well, let me go to the Jojo Diaz fight. As good as you looked in that fight, then you clearly won the fight. But what if I said to you that your talent is as great as it is? How can your power translate to being competitive with somebody at 47? Your talent can clearly compete. But what if I said that the power can't? How would that translate to 47?
Well, Ben, see, do you fight? Are you a competitor? Do you participate in combat? Because the reason why I say that is it's not always about being able to hit a person hard. It's not always about hitting a person hard. It's being able to make a motherfucker think every time they think about punching. I don't care how hard you hit them, but just to know you get hit with this shit. See, every time you attempt to throw something, it'll make a motherfucker not want to punch. Chris Bird wasn't a big puncher. Chris Bird moved up from what weight? He was like middleweight, moved all the way up to heavyweight.
Yep.
And he wasn't a big puncher at all. And he was fighting all big knockout artists. He wasn't a big puncher. He used his skill. And he used his skill. And to be honest with you, even at 140, at 47, I still bring enough stuff to make these motherfuckers respect me.
So you ever
say it again?
You ever spar with somebody and their power was so weak that you just ran just in spar? That you just walked through anything that they threw. You ever did that in spar?
I have, but they didn't have the intellect to be able to capitalize on the other shit. It's not just it's deeper than just, okay, well, this person don't hit hard, so I'm going to just walk along and touch it. You know, it's deeper than that. Now, what happens if this person don't hit as hard as you think, but every time you motherfucker do attempt to throw a punch or open up to walk them down, the fifth round, your motherfucker eyes start swelling the fuck up, get knotted up, and you still ain't landed that big shot like you really wanted to solid there to really stop this guy from touching you the way that you want to. Now he's starting to touch you to the body. He's using angles. Now you don't really want to throw punches because every time you throw a punch, you know you're going to get hit with 2 or 3 of these motherfuckers. I mean, it's a whole different level of warfare when you fight Mr. Gary Russell Jr. It's more than just a physical warfare. It's mental, it's psychological. All of that shit plays a part when you're an ultimate competitor. You're an ultimate predator. All of that shit is a factor. A lot of these guys don't have that. That's that X factor that's different. That's why none of these motherfuckers want to fight.
Yeah, I feel you, man. Now, I have another caller in here on the line from the 813 area code. He was on the last time you were on here, and he pretty much called out Mr. Devin Haney the last time. So I wonder if he's going to do the same thing now. 813, what's going on?
What's up, man? How you feeling?
Everything's good, man. Hey, real quick, so I'll tell you this. We talked about this fight a little bit earlier this week on Twitter, and my questions were like if you were to get this fight and Crawford was to win it, would they criticism because of the size difference, things like that? But aside from that, let me just
would that be criticism? Would that be criticism? Who's on spot? On my behalf?
No, if Buck was to win against a nationally smaller person. But
I mean, it'll be criticism either way. If he loses, there'd be criticism because he lost to a smaller person.
Yeah. Aside from that, and I know every one of you brothers can appreciate this because everybody's from the streets, everybody's from the hood for the most. You all know when you're walking through the hood, it doesn't matter. If you happen to come across a situation where you got to scrap with somebody bigger than you, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you're going to do what you got to do. And now, when we talk about this, the same comparison on the professional boxing level, it doesn't matter. Bills pay the bills. And the thing money, it's about having that dog in you, no matter what size you are, to go in there and face your opponent and showcase who you are. So I totally understand. So that's really what this fight's about. And I hope and pray this is one of these fantasy matchups, a modern day fantasy matchups that we would probably progress that we can never match that happen, but in reality, it can happen. So
how does that be?
Yeah. And like you said, at the end of the day, boxing is a business. We all know that. And with the WBO, they don't have a whole lot of shine like the other section of belts. So this should be an idea that they should entertain and ultimately make happen. So we're all looking forward to that.
Oh man, well I appreciate you for at least being like-minded. You know, there's a lot of people that don't view things in that light. You know, I think that's what makes a lot of people different, man. I'm just truly one of those type of guys. I've always been aggressive. I believe in my skill set, and I'm a real competitor. I'm one of those guys that put it on the line against anybody. You know, it wouldn't make a difference. Yeah, a lot of these other guys talk about, well, I don't want to move up. Well, he's too big, or man, you better not fight that guy. He's big. That goes to show me your mentality. I can see the kink in your armor. I can see the weakness in the people that say stuff like that. The people that say stuff like that, I can see the weakness in them. I can see the weakness in them. I can see the inner sucker in them. You know what I'm saying? I can see through all of that. I'm a real gladiator. I'll fight whoever, whenever. I don't care how big it is, how big they are, how many of them it is. I got a tattoo on my chest. And what it says is, it's my enemies and foes. They stumbled and fell. Though an army may encamp against me, my heart shall not fear. That's me. That's me. I'm a gladiator. I'm a warrior, man. You know, it's not a lot of us out here that got this mentality, but don't get it twisted. We definitely out here.
Oh, no doubt, man. And like you said, I mean, you wouldn't mind that fight against Terence Crawford. All you need is for, Bob Arum to make that call. But I think Bob Arum would be like, well, I mean, Terence Crawford, he's a talented guy, but I don't know if I'm gonna put him in the ring against Gary Russell Jr. It's just not gonna happen. But we'll see how he feels about it here within the next couple of days. Anyone else had a question here for Mr. Gary Russell Jr.?
Yeah, I got a question, Jr. What's going on with Gary Antoine? What's on the horizon for him? So we waiting for him to get back in the ring too.
Oh man. Well, he's in the process of actually trying to get some traction. We're waiting to hear from Al. He's actually signed with Al, him and Antonio Russell.
Mm-hmm.
But they ready to hit the ground running, man. They ready to hit the ground running. They ready to fight any of these guys in the upper echelon. And they willing to fight with these guys and take claim and capture their throne, man. They ready to get on top of their throne. They try and take over. And it's coming soon. They ready to run over anybody that's in the way that's stopping it.
Okay. Are you looking to fight on any particular network this year? Because, Showtime, they did have it in their graphics when they did their schedule roll up. Obviously, they're not trying to fight there yet. So, do you have any networks that you're looking to be broadcast on later on this year? And you're definitely fighting this year, right?
Good, right?
Well, I already fought once this year.
Yeah, I know, but
but we definitely trying. I know. We definitely trying to get another one in this year. Okay. I do know that the schedule has already been put out for Showtime and etc. But it's definitely still space to make things happen. And we're in the process of trying to make a fight happen, a fight that's actually relevant. We want to fight one of these other guys that really makes some sense. Don't want to just be fighting anybody.
Right. Yep. No doubt. Anyone that's listening in live, you could call in at 347-237-5539. Press 1 key to be on cue to ask a question for Mr. Gary Russell Jr. and you'll be on here. So, you did have the Showtime schedule. And then the other thing there is that we have what's coming up for Fox. So they're starting to, had their thing as well. So I think like all of their fights are going to be in that Connecticut area. So we were trying to get the Russell clan to, get some action there over in the Mohegan Sun Casino in Uncasville, Connecticut here for this next, part of the year. But we definitely do have to, get you in a fight. Like I said, I mean, I'm trying to, get in on the action for that Devin Haney. But like you said, I mean, Bill Haney was talking, one thing, and it was, and it kind of like didn't, go any further from that.
It ain't make no sense at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes that's how they'd be working out, man. It's like they initially talk about something. Like I said, I mean, Devin Haney wants to, post your name on Twitter, and then you call in and you say, "What's up?" And they couldn't really.
And his father confirmed. I'm glad his father got on the show to confirm that, yeah, me and Gary been on the phone having multiple conversations. So the bigger picture is I'm on the phone with Devin Haney's father talking about, "What's up, Bill? You want to let your son come out and play? What's the word?" I'm trying to, you know what I'm saying? It's out into the masses that at least the negotiation has started, that you see that I'm putting in the footwork and the effort to make the fights happen that I'm mentioning, that I'm talking about.
Yeah. And like I said, at the end of the day, they just didn't want to go ahead and make those final moves to lock down the fight with you. There was also like something I think that was floating around YouTube or something from some guy that didn't want no smoke with you, but he wanted to have something to say in reference to what was going on in the past week, and that's Leo Santa Cruz. And I'm like, man, Leo, come on, man. Like you done had all them opportunities to fight Gary Russell and you ain't say nothing,
He should be embarrassed to say anything. We should be embarrassed to say anything. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't try to say something about me talking about I'm trying to fight Terence. I'm only trying to fight Terence because your sucker ass ain't want to fight.
Exactly.
And Tank didn't either. So they fighting each other. Two suckers trying to stay away from it. Come on, man.
Yeah, I mean, like we said in the last conversation, I was like, yo, you versus Tank here in the DC area would easily be the biggest fight in the DMV, easily. But they didn't want to go forward with that. I was like, come on, man. Like,
because I'm too much of a threat. Man, listen, if y'all want to see what 100, go back. Shakur Stevenson did an interview back then, and they said they was asking them something about me fighting Tank or something like that. I forgot what it was. So they asked, how would a fight fare? How do you think a fight would fare between me and Tank? And Shakur kept it 100. He said, well, man, to be honest with you, I sparred with both of them, and the hardest I've ever been hit in sparring or anything was by a right hook from Gary Russell Jones. That's factual information. Y'all can go find this shit. So he said in one of his interviews.
I'm fairly sure that's out there because, I mean, the time before Shakur Stevenson had his fight, I did, ask him about you, and he was like, yeah, man, I mean, Gary Russell is that dude. So he's always been consistent about you, man. So I know that.
That's why I say I like Shakur.
Mm-hmm.
I think, to be honest with you, I think he's the only one that would probably have the balls to fight me. I think Shakur be the only one that had the balls to fight me. But I honestly know, and I feel as though that he knows deep down in the pit of his stomach that even if we were to fight, he can't do shit with me because we worked with each other before.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how I know how to work. I know how to fight to go with me and Devin Haney. because I seen him spot with Shakur. It was on YouTube. And Shakur got the better of that shit. I work with Shakur. So it's easy for me to gauge that.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
easy to study that too. It
I like Shakur because Shakur keep it 100. I like Shakur. Shakur, he young and he showed it. He keep it 100. You know what I'm saying? I like him. But don't get it twisted.
Anybody gonna step up?
I don't know.
Yo, I told you we need to harass Crawford to get him.
I'm right with you. I'm a piggyback on that shit. What's up, Terence? Make something happen. Sucker. I'll meet you at 47.
Hey, Matt, maybe I need to be like Kevin Durant and create a dummy account. Yeah, a burner account. We'll create a few burner accounts like Kevin Durant. Let's get it started. Yo, what about?
The more y'all talk about it, especially Bud ain't gonna fight. Bud isn't gonna fight anybody with a bigger name than Gary, so that's what he's doing.
Yep. That's what I'm saying.
And since we talk about it, since we talk about it, and being honest, never fought nobody of the skill set or caliber of mine. Even in my in his whole resume, the biggest name he got in his resume is a 35-year-old gambler that came off of the layoff. That was in his ass. That rocked him and everything. A gambler that originally started campaigning at 122, a weight division lower than me. So how the fuck am I too small for him? I will beat Terence ass. Tell Bob Cole.
You trying to tell me that you're not going to be telling your grandkids stories about Jeff Horn?
Come on, man. No.
Oh, come on, man.
No. Hold on. I'm not going to try this. I only try and go on fighters or at least disrespect fighters. Every fighter that step in the sport and step in the ring, you got to have a level of respect for them. You know what I'm saying? You got to have at least a little bit. Even the ones that I don't even like. You know what I'm saying? You got to have a little respect for them because, they're part of a fraternity. It's only a certain type of individual that's going to participate in this sport. So you got to give them that. But Jeff Horn, come on, man. But when they fought, people was calling him a bum when Terence fought him. They was calling him a bum before him.
That was ridiculous.
Like
man.
they say a drowning man to grab a straw, so you probably drinking a little water over there. Hey, Jeff Horn, come on, man. Like, come on, man. Jeff Horn got knocked off on strip. Come on, man. Listen. Jeff Horn got knocked off on strip. So I got knocked out by a stripper too, but she had drugged me. So,
Oh, goodness, man.
His resume, the only thing that can really give him that's respectable, you know what I'm saying, realistically, would be Jeff Horn. You can say Jeff Horn if you want. You can put him in there, but then look at Jeff Horn.
Right.
Can't really give him that.
Right.
Can't really give him that.
True that. Now, I done had somebody on the show here for a little bit that I kind of was training for you for a good little while at the start of his career, but he's kind of being on the come up there, I think, in the featherweight division right now, and that's Kobe Abridi. I think you were working with him a few times earlier, like a few years ago or something like that, and he kind of like mimicked like your moves and stuff like that. So what's your thoughts on him?
Man, I don't want to. Please forgive me.
Mm-hmm.
But I know the name, but I can't put a face to the individual.
Oh, okay, yeah, because it probably was a good amount of years when he was in the ring, like training with you, with his trainer, Floyd Seymour. But like he coming out of Barbados. Yeah. Yeah, Kobe. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, man. No, talking about Barbados, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's him. Okay. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, man, Kobe is cool, man. He's good dude. I think I like him. He's tough. He's slick. He's tough. He's creative. And he's a little awkward too, And a lot of guys that have that awkward style, most cases, if you're not fundamentally sound, these guys that have an awkward style that give you a little issue. They give you problems just because they're just so jerky all over the place and stuff like that. I think he could possibly do something. You know what I mean? You never know, man. Everybody got a chance to do it.
Mm-hmm.
If they prepare themselves and really apply themselves, they can probably make something. So hopefully he can make something out of it. I think he's a good guy. He definitely came over. I've worked with him before. He worked with my younger brother.
Yeah. He said they were doing a few things there, particularly with defense, like working on defensive skills, with you and your crew. So, like you said, he is awkward, and he just uses multiple styles and mixes them up, and you just see that in the ring. And like you said, it's kind of tough for opponents to deal with that. I guess the last time I talked with his trainer there, they were trying to see about making moves for the WBO version of the featherweight title, but they kind of were talking with Bob Arum, so they are setting somebody else up to try to get that version of the featherweight title. Who is it? Navarrete moving up.
Kobe cool, man. Kobe cool, but you better not bring that shit this way. He cool. I like him. We worked before. We worked on little brother. You better not bring this this way. He get that scorched too.
Hey, yeah, like you say, man, anybody can get it. Don't matter what their size is or anything like that. They can get it.
I said I fight Broner shoot. That'd be something I like to see. I would beat Broner ass too. I would beat Broner ass too.
Hey, he said he could go down to 140.
Man, that means I don't got it good. That means better. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Terence at 47, I'll be Broner ass at 40. It wouldn't matter. Broner's been dumped over out the party. Wait, man, get the fuck out of here. These guys
How would you go about putting on the weight?
Huh?
How would you go about putting on the weight?
I mean, like right now, I'm walking around in like 139 right now, 138, 139. You know what I'm saying? If we fighting at 140, I forgot what it is. I don't necessarily have to come in at 140.
Right.
I think I can come in at like 130.
136.
Like
yeah, 136.
Yeah, I think it's 136 or something like that. So my biggest issue is just continue to just keep the weight on in between camps. I don't have to train out with sauna suits on the cut weight and stuff like that. I can just train natural.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to put on a sauna suit or nothing like that to try to cut weight or a sweat bag to get down the weight. I can just train natural. I don't got to put none of that on.
Yeah, I don't think.
Yeah, I would beat Broner ass.
Beat him for the hood.
Yep.
He never show.
Yeah, but you not cutting weight. I feel like that'll make you even more dangerous. You talking about
That's the point, though. That's why I didn't even want to say it. I didn't want to say it because people, I wanted it to be the surprise to the fans when I do fight one of these guys and I don't have to drain my body of the nutrients and starve my body of eating and putting the food in my body. I'm pretty much fighting at my walk around weight.
Yeah.
I'm fully strong. I'm strong. I'm good at my walk around weight. And to get in shape at that weight without having to cut it, I'll be bringing my speed, power, my motherfucking create, my legs, my everything will still be right there. It'll be there even better because I wouldn't have to put so much stress on my body before the fight.
Right. Yep. Because I mean, like you and your dad was saying, you were walking around like 138 or something, so you wouldn't have to cut nothing. You wouldn't have to cut nothing for that type of fight. It'd be all good in that instance.
These guys. Then, not to mention, you got these guys. Once again, I'm an intellectual type person. You got these guys that's gonna think, well, oh, he's moving up, so I'm bigger, so they're gonna try to blow up in weight. So now, by the time we do get in the ring, they done put on 15 pounds and etc. But not to mention, we fail to realize what you eat today don't work. Don't actually go through your body today. It don't give you the benefits of the nutrients today. It takes at least 72 hours for your body to actually process and break down and digest all of the food and stuff that you done put in your body, stuff like that. So half of these guys are going to try to blow up in weight just so they can feel as though they're bigger man than me. And you're walking around fighting with all this excess food and shit and waste that's in your body. And after about the 4th, 5th round, after you realize you can't hit me, and I'm touching you at will, and you swinging all these big ass punches, and nothing makes contact, but every time you throw something, you get hit. Now your eye cut. Now I slide close to you and start digging this shit to your body, real hard and solid and sharp. Yeah, and then that's when they don't realize they in the hole. They got themselves in some shit.
Yeah.
At that point, that's when they realize they got themselves in some shit. It's too late to get out of it now.
Yeah, ain't no way to get out of it. Once you in the waters, you gonna be in there and end up drowning right there, man. So I mean, that's the thing. I'm just trying to figure out like why like all of these folks here putting themselves in position, but none of them are putting themselves in the position to fight you. Like you even have, the thing there, like we said with Josh Warrington earlier this year. I was like, how you win the IBF title when you won the IBF title and then you fight everybody else, but not set up a fight with Gary. Like that didn't make sense to me. They like had it lined up so that y'all could fight each other pretty much like in the next fight.
Everybody from over there.
Yep.
These Selby Duffy, called Frampton Duffy. Josh Warrington, he don't want to fucking fight me. He's a bar fighter. He don't even got no. Y'all talking about bringing power up. At least I got knockouts in my weight division, in my division. He got like what 6 knockouts or something like that, and half of them just was like TKOs. He don't got no power. He's a bar fighter. I will beat Josh Warrington ass. He ducks your core too.
Yep, that was the thing. And I mean, he said they were going to set up that fight, and then Josh Warrington goes over and he signs with Matchroom Boxing, and now he wants to fight. Was it Zhu Can or Can Zhu or man? I don't know, man.
I never heard of it.
I bet you won't fight my last opponent. I bet you won't fight a King Tut.
Oh yeah, he wouldn't. Nah, he wouldn't do that. He wouldn't do that. Like that would be that would be a nice ass fight. You just think about it, that would be a nice ass fight right there.
King Tut get probably knocked on the fuck out. King Tut probably knocked on the fuck out.
Yeah, because Warrington is very much straightforward there, man, and he's talking about knocking guys out or stopping them. He has 30 fights, but only seven knockouts, man. Like, come on, man.
You got like 6 or 7 knockouts.
Hey, yo, let's call it spade a spade, right? These fans and other media pundits, they only care about unifying the division of becoming undisputed when it suits them. Like, okay, for 147, oh yeah, we need undisputed. Or heavyweight division, we need undisputed. But nobody say shit. People be playing fucking duck goose for Gary. Nobody say shit.
Never brings it up. Never.
Nobody put no pressure on Warrington. Nobody put no pressure on
Leo.
Gordon either. Look, nobody put no pressure on Leo. Nobody. They just let them just wrap the fuck up. They didn't say a word.
And they had Oscar Valdez. Oscar Valdez was a champ at featherweight, and he moved up. Like Shakur Stevenson was the next champ and moved up. Like, come on.
Then they talk that fan stuff. Like Oscar Valdez got 10,000 people coming to see him. You feel me?
Man, they sound like my man. I'm trying to catch your voice, man. You sound a little familiar, man.
I've been on the show probably 7 times. I interviewed you with Jim on when you fought you fought Wilder's undercard.
No, okay,
Kiko Martinez. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, but ain't nobody saying that to Kid Gallen. Ain't nobody saying that. Yeah, nobody put no pressure on that. Right? Like they picking and choosing.
Yep.
I'm just one of the fighters. Yeah, I'm just one of the fighters that's intellectual enough to just be able to put the shit out there to the fans and the people that, you know what I'm saying, to the fans to see what really goes on. You know what I'm saying? How politics plays a big part and why the sport is getting watered down. Because the fans are the one that's getting bamboozled and worked at the end of the day. They want to see the best fight against the best. We're entertainers. You know, we're the fans, but they get the people what they want to see.
Mm-hmm.
They pay to see the fighters, not the managers and promoters and all that other shit.
You think Magdaleno will fight you? You think Jesse Magdaleno wins? You think he'll fight you?
To be honest with you, I don't know who that is.
But they made it so they don't care about if the best fight the best. It's basically what Gary said earlier. It's basically who they want in those positions. If they want Josh Warrington and whoever else in that position, they put them in that position, and they just want to act like the rest of the people not there. So it's a plenty on us as fans to say, hey, we demand it, or stop,
right.
Stop. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that comes from, but Al got, Al plays a role in it. We play a role in it as fans. Be vocal, the fighters. Everybody got to play a role in it. Otherwise, they're going to keep doing this.
Yeah, but it's crazy because, like you and said, you have the fans that are out there and they talk, a lot of stuff about, different fighters, different fights, like this guy's ducking this and, another fighter's ducking that, but you don't really see them saying, hey, all of these guys are ducking Gary Russell Jr. Why are they not stepping in the ring with the WBC featherweight champion of the world?
I'm going to be better than that. Anytime I fight, I don't care how good I'm looking, how sharp, how nice it is. Pay attention to the commentation. It's always something real negative. It's not real positive. It's not like they saying, well, Gary's a great fighter, he's this, he's that. They always want to bring up, well, he's good, but he lost to Lomachenko. Such and such. When Lomachenko motherfucking fights, he's the best thing ever. He's this, he's that, he's that. They never mention shit about him losing. You know what I'm saying? That just goes to show you how they can kind of sway the masses and just promote whatever the fuck they want to promote. In most cases, people that don't know boxing, when they kind of decide who they want, who they're picking to fight, In most cases, they pick the most popular person. They're not picking off the skills. They're picking off popularity.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fact.
They're picking off of popularity. Skill-wise, ain't nothing sport of boxing fucking with me. Ain't nobody doing the shit that I'm doing in the sport of boxing. Who the fuck you know that's throwing a 6, 7, 8-punch combination and then stop that shit at the drop of a dime because somebody throwing the punch, split 2 of them, and then run 3 or 4 more of these motherfuckers back off and then still be in position to counter or respond to what the fuck the opponent's doing right after you. Ain't nobody doing that shit in the sport of boxing.
Ooh.
Hey, bro, I said that shit. You fought Jojo Diaz on this show. I had said some shit. I said, man, I never seen somebody throw an 8-punch combination until I saw you when you did in the Jojo Diaz fight. I said that exact shit.
Nobody in the sport of boxing doing shit like that. Nobody in the sport of boxing. You'll see. I'm gonna tell you when you'll see it though. You'll see it on social media with somebody hitting the mitts and shit. And they hitting the mitts. That shit all look good. I used to watch karate movies. And there was a movie called Bloodsport back in the day.
Oh man.
It was Bloodsport.
Sean Lee. No.
Yeah. And they told him to do the dim mop, the dust touch, and he broke the brick. And the dude, Bolo, I forgot what they called it, Chung Lee, he was right there, and he looked at him. He said, that's good, but the bricks don't hit back. You know what I'm saying? It's the same shit. You see all these dudes who do these stuff on social media. They looking good as shit on all this punches on the mix. But you never see that shit transfer over to the ring when they actually doing the fight. You see him throwing like a 7, 8, 9-punch combination on the mix. But you don't see him doing it in the fight. They throw 1, 2 punches. Half the time, he tank. After the 5th round again, boy, he was only throwing 5 punches around. So the shit that he was throwing on the mix was out the window anyway. You know what I'm saying? And you're hitting the miss in a stationary. You're hitting the miss in a stationary position. You're not even simulating a real combat situation because if I'm really trying to hit a motherfucker, I'm advancing the whole time. I'm advancing. In most cases, you see these guys hitting the miss in one spot. They don't advance till after they finish the combination, but they advance like 2 or 3 jabs after the fact. What the fuck type of shit is that? Like, that's not a realistic event. You're supposed to prepare yourself for a realistic. My father's always told me, don't practice bad habits. A lot of guys that practice bad habits, like that's not a realistic event. That's not how you're gonna have to do this shit in a real fight. You're not gonna stand stationary and throw punches. And even with that, it never transfer over into a fight. I would do the same shit on the mix, and you'll see me hit a motherfucker with that shit in the ring. You don't see nobody doing that in the sport of boxing.
Yep. Because, they had, the thing with Tank, I mean, he does have those videos, but, like I said in the last fight, he was definitely just throwing 1 or 2, punch combos, man. I know, like, I want to check the history. Like, yeah.
And then go on social media. That's just some show shit. See, my shit real. This shit is show. Mine's real.
Mm-hmm.
They assimilate actual combat, situations.
True.
They just doing it just for play. You know what I'm saying? It's a difference, man. These guys are boxers. I'm a fighter.
Oh yeah, fighter all day, every day there, man. Just seeing in here, got about I'd say about 10 minutes left on the live session of this show. For folks that want to call in, that are watching on YouTube right now, you can call in at 347-237-5539 to get in with the WBC featherweight champion, Mr. Gary Russell Jr. There. So, just getting into this, whole thing with action a little bit more, man. I know that you talk about, the guys that were on the Olympic team with you, and you did bring up Deontay Wilder. Now I know that, he's had like a little bit of action outside of the ring, over the past, few weeks or so, but he is, about to be preparing to fight Tyson Fury, and they say scheduled for December, man. But
For real?
Yeah, I mean it's supposed to be around December. That's kind of like what I'm envisioning. That they'll try to put it for December, but I think it just depends on how the whole thing with this COVID stuff and allowing fans in the stadiums and things like that. So they're able to allow fans in the stadium that they want to go into, then they'll hold the fight. It's kind of like targeted for sometime in December there. So what do you think about Deontay Wilder and what he may have to do in order to make the adjustments to get the win against Tyson Fury in the third fight?
Man, Deontay, that's my guy. I hope he go in there and knock Tyson Fury the fuck out. You know what I'm saying? Of course, I'm biased. I'm biased because he's a good friend of mine. He's one of the ones that was actually real on the team. You know what I'm saying? I'm not sure, man, what Deontay has to do. I don't know what his training is. I don't know what his training regimen is and stuff like that. Didn't they say he fired his coach or something like that?
Nah, that the thing with Mark Breland, nah, that wasn't official or anything like that. Because I know folks that around their camp, and if anything, I would know if they fired Mark Breland, but he didn't fire Mark Breland. Nah, he didn't do that.
No, okay. I'm not sure, man. What Deontay has to do in this fight, man. I can't even speak on it. I just hope my man get it done.
Yeah,
to be honest with you, I didn't get a chance to see the last fight. Yeah, man. I didn't get a chance to see it live. I caught it like a couple days or so. And it just seemed like he was off. It just seemed like his game, he wasn't all the way himself. You know what I'm saying, man? He seemed like something wasn't quite right.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't so much of what Tyson Fury did that made the difference that I was looking at. I feel as though it was more so what Deontay wasn't able to do, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just seemed like something was off. They say it had something to do with his suit. I don't know how thorough that is or how realistic that is, but he did seem a little off in the fight. He didn't seem like himself.
Yeah, I feel you.
All I can tell my man is the laces boost up a little tighter. Keep your chin down, man. Let's grind, man. Dust yourself off. Man. Dust yourself off, and let's get back to it.
And get back in it. Yep.
Yeah, let's get back to it.
Now, like going into your brothers there, they're both undefeated. You have Antonio there 17-0, and you have Antoine there 13-0. They're campaigning at the bantamweight and super lightweight divisions. So like kind of like going to like how they've been putting in work, there alongside you. Pretty much, I would say, what was it, the past, few years, because like they have, had a good amount of fights, over, like 2019, they had about five or so fights in 2019. And, they've been, definitely putting in work, and you usually are there as one of their trainers in the ring. So how does it, feel to like watch them, progress as fighters?
Man, it's so sweet to get them. It's so sweet to be able to watch their progression, but what makes it even better that I can participate in it with them. Most times when you got your coaches, your coach, he can't get in the ring and then do the stuff with you or spar you and stuff like that. I can get in the ring and move around and spar with my little brothers. You know what I'm saying? Now, not to mention, my little brother he's fighting 141, but he walks around much bigger than that. I spar with my little brother. He's bigger than Terence Crawford. He's just as long and etc. And man, we get to work in. So I'm just there to say that I move up to 47 and Terence out here. But back to my little brother. Nah, man, I think they're ready now. They definitely ready to make that next step. You know, they're ready to put their name in the hat, fight the guys that's supposed to be the upper echelon in their division. They're ready to do it. They ready. They ready. They game. They ready to hit the ground running.
Yeah, gotcha there, man. Gotcha. Yeah, I'll be definitely looking forward to action from them here, hopefully pretty soon as, the action for boxing picks back up and things like that. So I'm going to see if I can hand it off to one of the callers in here before, we kind of sign off there, which is so that you'll be able to get back into, again, get with your family and things like that. So if World Ranker Terrell has a question, you can go ahead.
Yeah, Gary, I want to ask you a question. There's a situation going down between Lomachenko and Teofimo Lopez in terms of the money and who deserves what and things like that. I want you to take on how do you feel about fans weighing in on what a fighter should get paid and things like that?
How do I feel weighing in on what?
How fans weigh in about what a fighter should take to make a fight. So say you and Crawford make fight, and you get paid X amount of dollars, and the fans say, and you say that I want more. The fans say, to get your name out there or to get the fight, you should take less. How do you feel about fans putting their thought process in terms of what fighters should make it in terms of their personal business?
I think it's not fans. They get paid based on. I mean, they pay to see fighters compete. They pay to see if these guys the best fight the best. At the end of the day, we're prize fighters. We fight and we want to get paid our just due. We want to get paid our just due. A lot of these guys aren't. A lot of these guys not. Boxers are known as being ignorant. A lot of fighters are known as being ignorant. And the managers, promoters, and etc. They take advantage of that. And when you do have a fighter that's astute enough and understands or actually know their work, then they say, well, they overpricing this. Well, man, he asked for too much money. Well, man, nah, this, that, and the third. And then most of the time, people just go along with what everybody else is saying. They really don't even know what's going on behind the scenes. They don't know that, that this guy's numbers is really out the motherfucking roof. They should be getting paid 90 seconds. But the managers and promoters trying to give it to them. It's a lot of stuff that goes on that, it's like you working a job. It's like you having a job and that you should be able to get paid at least this for the job, but you're saying, well, nah, I'm only going to give you this. And he's like, nah, man, I did this, and I did that shit over there. And all you trying to get me is this. And that's a bad piggyback because somebody who's what I'm looking for, somebody who's popular said it. So that makes it realistic or relevant. Now you got the fans piggybacking on the same thing. That's pretty much how it goes, but that don't make sense. I mean, I don't know what their purses are or what they was trying to get an agreement with to come to, but we're prize fighters. We get paid based upon our ability to lose. We can't stand in the way of somebody else's money. Y'all can't stand in the way of somebody else's money. If their money not stopping your money, stand in the way of somebody else's money. That ain't none of your business at all. It's my business. 10 seconds.
Yep. So yeah, the thing with Teofimo is he was, asking him for about like 1.3 billion for that particular fight, and the fans are like saying like, why are you asking for that much money? But like you said, it's prize fighting. He's fighting for a prize there. So if he wants to ask for that much money, they might as well go ahead and give it to him. You know what I mean?
But listen, my thing is this. In the sport of boxing, this is a very, very, very brutal sport. It was a couple people that died from competing. And I forgot the kid's name that died. And I think they only gave him like $1,000. He didn't make no money at all for the fight. But he didn't get paid his to do. If I'm putting my livelihood on the line, if I'm sacrificing everything that I got on the line, the ultimate way for a person to win in my sport is to knock a person completely unconscious. I'm putting everything on the line. I'm sacrificing my blood, my sweat, everything else. I want everything that I deserve to get. Who are you to tell me what I'm not deserving to get because you don't know what's going on? I mind my business and I expect everybody else to mind theirs. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know, man. That shit crazy.
Yeah. It was like Patrick Day that passed last year that, I don't think he, got that much for the purse for the particular fight that he was in, back in October. And like you said, then when, I interviewed you at your gym, like you got to be able to protect yourself at all times and be able to do that financially as well. So it's like, look, I need to be paid this and this and this. I'm putting my life on the line out here. And so because of me putting my life on the line out here, like I should be properly compensated to, be able to perform for the fans and for, those that are going to be, watching the fight. So it's like, I don't see why there are fans that like to complain a lot when it comes to, fighters that ask for a certain price for their purse, because it's a whole different thing when you step in the ring.
It's a whole different thing. And then what happens when that guy got underpaid and now he got knocked unconscious and he's in a coma, or something happens and now his family needs money to pay for his medical bills and stuff after the fact. And then he got shortchanged. Like that shit makes it put ourselves in harm's way every time we step in the ring. That's why I say there's fighters out here that I might not like. I might not like them, and I still beat their ass, but I still got a level of respect for them. Because you gotta respect anybody that participates in this sport.
Right.
Well, like it or not, we fight over fraternity together. I always say it's an honor to share the field of battle. With the fellow gladiators out here. But hey, man, people gotta get through that too.
Yep. It's like I said, you had Patrick Day that passed. You had Maxim Dadashev that passed, and a few years ago over in Fairfax, they had the thing with Pritchard Colon where he ended up being non-coherent and pretty much couldn't move for a good amount of time, like years. Like it's been like almost 3 years or so. And, those costs, they couldn't cover all of those costs initially with the person they had. So they had to, conjure up money on their own for that, So when these fighters like ask for these purses, that's pretty much what they're thinking about. It's like, yo, I got to protect myself before, during, and after the fight, regardless of what the result is. You feel me?
Right, because at the end of the day, boxing is one of the only sports that don't have an entity connected to it to help these fighters manage or continue their revenue and their resources. We're the only sport that don't have that entity. Every other sport has an entity attached to it. But when the competitors stop competing or wherever they stop playing in the game, playing in the sport that they're in, it's an entity that's attached to it that helps them manage their money and stuff like that. We don't have that.
Right.
We don't have that.
Yeah, it's not available. You know what I mean? And so, we gotta, they gotta be able to do the things that's needed in order for them to protect themselves. After their career is done. I mean, I think like something did happen here. I'm not sure if Mr. Gary Russell Jr. is still with us. It might be his line might be cut. World Rank, you still with me?
Yeah, I'm still with you.
Oh, Gary, are you still on?
I'm still on.
Okay, yeah, it seemed like it like cut off there a little bit. I didn't know what was happening there. But yeah, like you were saying, man, I mean, there's no union for boxers or fighters to protect them during their careers or after their career is done. So most of the time, once they stop their career, they don't have no money. I had Adrian Clark, who was like a boxing manager and things like that, and he talked about this during our show where he like breaks down the business of boxing and how all of the how the money is split before even the fighter even receives their check for the fight. So it's like if these fighters don't know like what they're doing, then by the time they end up fighting and the fight's over, they get a small check and they'll be like, what is this? Like, that ain't what we agreed to. But hey, once you have those type of contracts with managers, promoters, and other people, that's how the check keeps dwindling and dwindling down before you're able to see what the final amount is.
Yeah. Right about that.
Yep. So it's like you got to be able to.
I'm just a realist, man, and I just try to keep it 100, man. I'm one of these guys that's gonna be real. My yes mean yes, my no mean no. I ain't gonna say something that ain't what it is, and I ain't gonna agree to it if I ain't gonna do it.
Yeah, I feel you, man. I definitely feel you there. Just seeing here, Brother Terrell, you got something here for Gary Russell Jr.? I seen if he was still on. I don't think he is there, but I was gonna put like a close to this particular podcast. Champ. Thank you very much for coming on here to speak with us. I tell folks to kind of like hit your follow you on Instagram, Mr. Gary Russell Jr. You have also Team Gary Russell. That's on there, and Gary Antoine and Gary Antonio Russell all on Instagram as well. So y'all be sure to follow them. But any part words there, Brother Gary?
Man, to the truth, man, I love y'all for the support. To the haters, I ain't tripping off of y'all. To the youngins that's coming up in the school, always push yourself to the limit. Don't cut no corners and never let nobody tell you can't do something. You can do anything you put your mind to.
There you go, man. That's it. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the WBC featherweight champion, Mr. Gary Russell Jr., man. Thank you very much, man. All day, every day, man. So folks, I'm gonna bring it close to this particular podcast. I may just do a little bit extra on social media to kind of like go over what happened in the weekend. So y'all be sure to catch that. We'll have the show once again Sunday, August 9th. We're scheduled to have another podcast. So y'all be sure to catch that. And like I said, at the end of every show, folks, Point of Boxing is hit and I can hit. And understanding trade. On that note, I'm out. Y'all have a good evening.